for tech issues, right?
Okay,
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's on. It just gave me a error, but now it's fine. So, okay. Um it's been 2 weeks. I'm like, what do we do?
Has it really? Wow.
So
I guess that's
anyway,
true.
we're back. The game's back
Hi.
together. Good, he hears me, so that means it's live. I wasn't gonna bring it up on my phone to make sure. I'm trusting the system here.
Oh, I'll do
Um,
that.
you know. So, welcome. We're
Thanks,
back.
Les. He confirmed.
Yeah.
All right.
After a 2 week hiatus, we're back. Um, we were across too many time zones to try to figure out how to make everything work. Like literally across the planet.
I
Um,
think we all were separated by what, six to
seven
seven
hours or
hours? Like
something like
each of
that.
us individually were 6 to 7 hours
Yeah.
from the other person.
Like I was in the middle between you two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of wild to think about. Um, yeah. So hi everybody. We're back. We have some things to talk about. Actually, a lot of things to talk about because the sun decided to get active again, or as we
Yay!
decided to get X-rated. So we're gonna talk about these X flares and these CMEs and what to expect and what I don't know not to expect or try to
Well, what to expect from social media?
yeah like
I think at this point it's managing expectations for space weather and for what people are starting to post because there's a lot of communication that happens on social media and not all of it is accurate. So we're gonna go over some misconceptions
it tends to
and
go
Not all of it is accurate, she
it
says.
it tends
As if
to
most of it is.
yeah it tends to just who can get out the news fastest without fact checking anything or waiting for data or any of it. It's just hey, this is I don't know. It's hype, you know. I had to. I'm not. I won't say it. We'll just go into our regularly scheduled program. So if you want to bring up what we have, go for it.
Yeah.
sure.
So if you want to start slide
Let,
deck first, that'll give my frames time to load, which it's
all
still not looking
right.
good, but I'm at least 50% done.
Sorry. Oh, I'm getting there.
Yes,
Don't
All
try to
right.
load 12 frames at once. It doesn't work.
not just 12.
No. Oh,
Or is
Well,
it not working?
32 hours of frames
Yeah.
in 12
Oh.
different wavelengths.
all right. So let me share a few things. If I can find. If now I can find Zoom somewhere. Sorry. We're Space Weather Unplugged and jet lagged.
Yes.
I'm technically the only functioning one, and that's a really bad sign if I'm that way. So,
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm still awake right now. But here we go. Okay, look it. See what we put in there. We're unplugged and jet lagged. So
yay,
this
good.
will be the greatest broadcast we've ever done.
I think so.
Under sleep deprived conditions, yes, it might be. All
Or at least
right.
more entertaining.
Indeed.
Oh, well, that's not a change for us, really.
That's also true. Yeah.
So, oh, that's not even the right. Well,
No.
you see, that's why I'm talking about jet lagged and yeah, functioning on half of the brain. This number is not accurate. I am looking
Oh,
a
yeah,
little bit too far into the future.
yeah, 4274.
But
Just pretend that's what
I
that says.
It's a good start.
oh yeah. Well, I'll be happy if we get to that region. It has the beta gamma delta configuration. I'll be thrilled
Because then you
about
just
it.
reuse it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna reuse this slide, but it is actually our friend 4274 that's sitting right over here. It's that big mess of a region, and I hope you, Christian, can actually pull the
I
well.
do have it up.
No!
Yep.
Yay! Let me stop
Yeah.
sharing and actually
It's
put
a,
this.
it's
But
always
this
good
region,
when the drawing is like squiggly.
yeah. But let's pull the actual images because it's gonna give me a chance to at least correct that slide. All right.
Ooh.
I like how you still want to correct it, even though.
I know,
I
even though, yeah, we'll
do.
just pass it on anyway. All right, I already forgot the number. I'll be honest, I've been kind of terrible with active region numbers. I don't even care anymore because they're pretty inconsequential since really
Mhm.
October. So I'm like, do your worst. But this one really has been pretty impressive with how potent it's been, not only on the backside, but then coming back around and giving us some actual flares. because it's not often we get to do that. But what was the region number again? 4277?
4274.
74.
74. Yeah, whatever. Although the funny thing is, I'm still not. For some reason, my JHelio viewer is not loading frames very fast. It doesn't matter that I'm trying to load like 12,000 frames. It's just it should be faster than this. This is it as of now. So this is going to be the 10th as of 1400 UTC. Actually, that's not as of now at all. That was as of several hours ago. Point is, we got a giant negative Umbra core and a, well, I'd say big positive Umbra area here, but it's really not that big anymore. But then it's sandwiched between another one, which is kind of rare that we get to see a sandwich of two polarities, especially where we have a leading polarity and then a regular one, which generally this will happen when you've got two groups in very, very close proximity. It's likely this was part of a group over here, and it just close enough to then merge with this one. But that's essentially been where all the flares have been coming from. I'm going to go back a little bit to the beginning. We'll say right here, just so we can actually see some of the activity. It has decayed a bit. Sorry, I know that's probably not what everyone wants to hear. Then again, it's going to be useless to us here in about 5 days, roughly, where it will all of a sudden have one of the biggest solar flares that even we detect on this side, and we'll get a CME that we get side glanced by, because that's how everything works here. But we have, so, oh, this just kind of proves that point too. So nice delta region here, usually not very, I guess, common, I will say, with a giant main core for the leading area, and then we've got this little tiny little positive area right here. But then we have all the middle stuff that was happening. So I'm going to actually track this. And again, this is a combo magnetogram. So blue is positive, red is negative. We're going to just let it kind of change and go by. But there's a lot of rotation and a lot of mixing in here. So eventually what's going to happen with how much time has gone by, these two are going to separate completely. In fact, it's already starting to happen, it looks like.
Look at that flux on the bottom.
Let's go ahead and kill the magnetogram, though, because one of these is having trouble focusing, and I'm not sure which one it is. Oh, you know what? Actually, this is merging. Just kidding. It was separated a little more, like, so this is a pretty big gap between them. I would even consider this not really that potent of an area, except that we still had the activity through here, and then some of the flares took place through here. But it actually looks like it is merging together and becoming one group, and that's going to be pretty interesting to see when it gets to the western limb. Not terribly big, though. I've seen way bigger groups than this, so this one isn't particularly impressive in size. And really, there's nothing else going on of any sort of potency anywhere around here, so this is the one to look at. This is likely we are going to continue to see at least M-class flares, X flares as this evolves. But so far, it's only been evolving in a positive structure, it looks like. It's decayed a little bit in this area. We're getting rid of that positive Umbra. It's probably going to disappear here shortly. So this will just be surrounded. But we still got quite a bit of potency all through here. And especially if this decides to start merging, I'm expecting quite a bit more flares. That's going to do it for at least that region. So I'll give the slide deck back until we get to at least the flares.
Yay. Yeah, I think
Yay!
Space Weather Prediction Center put it back up to 35% chance of X flares. Because it was down to like 25, and now it's back up to 35.
Yeah.
And I always wondered how that percentage worked, honestly. Like, and at what time are they taking those judgments? Because they change, every hour.
Once a day. The
I assume that the same noon time that they do, usually for like the solar flux unit or index. That's my guess.
Yep. And our chances of seeing a decent proton event are so increasing, so that's going to mess up some of the measurements, including EPAM. It's not going to be our friend very soon.
If we get to at least S2 levels generally is enough to do it, we start seeing ACE specifically, we'll see a real-time solar wind data absolutely start plummeting. I would honestly not be surprised if we saw that in the next few days. Let's see, how are we doing? And you know what? Since we don't have that shared yet, let's just do it this way.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
So I was just going to load a graph so that people can see what I'm looking at, basically. So this is at least the ACE. I mean, see, we didn't even get close to S2 yet from that flare. It's already decaying still. We're still above 1 PFU, at least at ACE, so I assume I mean, we'll be at S1 for a while too.
Yep.
So we're fine now, but if we get any of those flares, even something similar in the next one to, God, technically a week from now, even we could see some pretty good results from that. But I think we'll see it at least the next few days. We'll probably get some other big flare that will jump these back up.
And then in
And
terms of
we might actually see it even sooner because of how the CME are positioned. So one is sort of in the way and might be blocking some of the protons from coming over. But we may see increase in proton
That's a fair point.
flux in once the CMEs arrived. So that might be very interesting to watch too.
Yeah.
Justin, when I'm able to fly physically without any sort of support, like through energy, that's when we get our X-46. That's not to say we're never going to get it. That's encouragement to make it happen.
All right, let's do it. So should I go back to the slides?
Yeah, let's go back to slide deck. I got nothing else until we do the flares.
Because we're coming up to the flares, and this was the first one. So that was November 9th. It was a fairly complex event because initially it was the filament that erupted, quickly followed by X1.79 flare, which actually had a fairly impressive north-northeast bias, so it got deflected. Currently, it's modeled to arrive as likely a flank impact, meaning it's not flying straight at us. It's sort of not quite the glancing blow, but sort of the shoulder of it, so to speak.
Marginally better.
Yeah, and because of that, it's low to moderate confidence in ETA. It is expected to arrive, so high confidence in arrival in the first place, but low to moderate confidence in estimated timing of arrival, meaning the arrival window is going to be pretty broad, and high uncertainty as usual in impact strength. Currently, it's modeled for the G2 watch. How it's going to play out really depends on what the magnetic structure it will have. It is a slower CME, which means it's still fast, but there is another one behind it that's faster. So modeling speed is a little different, and that's why the timing of arrival is different. But at this point, we're looking at sometime mid-October, November 11th to later November 11th. I'm in October. It's like
I'm still in October.
time is a foreign concept to me right now.
I mean, time is fake anyway, so to have to then remember that it's the actual rules of something that's fake, it's really difficult when you're in that state.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one event. Second event happened earlier. Well, yesterday in UT time, but early morning for North America.
Yeah.
So whatever your time zone, just go with UT, go with space weather time, because everything else is going to be confusing. But it was also a fairly complex event, mostly because of what happened on the disk following the eruption. It was X1.2 flare, and it came from the same region, but it actually had north-north. Well, no, it hadn't. I need to correct this one too. See? This is what happens.
Okay.
It's
That's why we're
actually
unplugged.
northwest bias. It's completely unplugged and very jet lagged. Moderate to fair confidence in ETA according to SWIPC, higher confidence in arrival. Also a flank impact, because again, it's not directed straight at us. Despite having a fairly central location, it's kind of flying in a different direction. High uncertainty in impact strength. This is a faster one. So chances are it's going to gain up to the CME that we had on November 9th. See, I got the months right. And they will interact for sure. How they're going to interact is a different story, but we'll talk briefly about it before we wrap up for this CMS. Christian, if you want to take over and go over the flares and all the fabulous events, well, I'm correcting the slides again.
That's okay.
All right, so this is going to be a little rough because I wanted to have some neat videos and some cool wavelengths, and I put together some color channels, so now I can have like really cool SDO looking images, but it takes forever to load, and I'm still not quite there with most of them. So what I'm going to do is just load one, and we're just going to have to deal with it. Just one boring shot of how things are.
That's
He
fine.
says, as if solar
Yeah.
flares can ever be boring.
Well,
Okay, so we have the first event here. I
poof.
like this in 131 because, of course, you get to see the hot ribbon flare. But, whee! And then if we throw in 211, I guess I'll take it out of its color channel.
I like how you always change it, even though I'm like, I like the pink color channel.
Yeah, or pick whatever filter you want.
Yeah.
But and you can kind of see a blast for this one. It's not that impressive, I'll be quite honest. In fact, we could do base since I have this much. Oh, wow. I don't know what it's taking its first frame as, but that's definitely not how I thought it would be. Point is, I didn't see there's a blast for sure, but it's not something that we've seen. Like, we've seen more significant ones and easier to see ones, and it really wasn't as impressive as it looks, which just goes to show you X Flare is a human invented term in a arbitrary limit set, and has nothing to do with how impressive their CMEs are. Hint, hint to everyone
Yeah.
else. So we have that one. And then we had the more impressive one, which I am actually going to combine these two for and just hope that they play nice while we're here.
They play nice. There's some crazy coloring you got going on there.
Yeah, I know.
I like
Well,
that color.
It's
I
like
like the wavelengths themselves,
it's like
but
blinding me.
oh, there we go. There we go. I like the more contrasty ones, so like red and blue, but no, that's gonna work. No, fine, whatever. Try to do something cool. I'll have some videos probably up after the stream in that case. I'll give things a try and make them look better. And then we've got just the blue one left. And we'll kill that. All right. But then we had the X1 flare. And this one is, yes, as Tanya said, had global involvement. It was pretty dramatic as far as how it looked. Even running differential, especially, you could see clearly the blast wave shock out. You
Mm-hmm.
can see why it has a Western mostly deflection. If you imagine, of course, the sun as a sphere, it's really hard to picture 3 dimensions, but it's, I mean, pretty well aimed to a side enough that we're definitely going to get some. But check out how far it went too. And then we had some interactions over here, some filaments being moved. And then, I mean, that affected everything up here. It was pretty cool. And the Lasgo tells really the whole story, since obviously we can just look as to where the CMEs were coming from. So let's go all the way back here, and we'll zoom out. I like keeping it running because it's easier, but there's the first X flare, and honestly, it looks pretty promising, at least as far as a shock. Like, we're definitely going to get something, as she said, but as far as what we get, it's probably not going to turn out to be very much. I am much more confident with a decent, at least, arrival of this one, the X1 we had this morning. Clearly, now keep in mind, there are two far side ones. We had a slow eruption liftoff here, and then there was a far side CME that was really slow, that was slowly exiting the frame. So when we have the first sight of the halo, it's clearly a halo. So it's definitely at least somewhat there. But then it gets very asymmetrical, clearly, as it gets further out, and we notice most of the bulk is going to the northwest. But we're definitely gonna get something. I mean, I would be very surprised to not see any sort of shocks whatsoever. And we also need to keep in mind we have a coronal hole that's keeping a lot of that solar wind inside of it, which I think helps our chances now since that coronal hole is much further to the west. So we'll see something.
Yeah, that coronal. I was talking to Janelle earlier too because the coronal holes do affect these things, and we don't really
More so than
know
we think.
why. I mean, and just don't have a good way to model that kind of stuff. So we're just now starting to go back down to a more baseline solar wind speed. It was over 500 all day up until a little bit ago. So sometimes that can, affect things.
Because we finally have a CME arrival.
Yes.
Some sort of CME arrival. It's
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been able to actually say we have something coming that I can definitely say with confidence that will at least affect Earth. We'll see something. I'm, of course, as we always do here, not going to try to do any sort of forecasting or guessing as to how that's going to affect us. Come back when it hits L1, but we'll definitely see something.
Yeah, because like the other, the problem with like the flank hits too is like this could either go in our favor or totally against it, depending on
Hmm.
if it's all a negative BZ or positive BZ. So.
The other fun part will be if we have any clear skies and any decent places during that time,
Yeah.
because we are, of course, in Clamageddon time for the Midwest,
Oh
November to
yeah.
January at least.
I found out that Cloud Mageddon is just about everywhere in November.
Yeah, honestly, there's not really good places. I mean, the mountains, I would say. I had plenty of clear skies in the mountains when it wasn't snowstorming,
Yeah.
but that was
Well,
just kind of an all over thing.
we can probably go to the models of this
Yeah.
mess.
Deal. I have, although, will this play in regular frames per second now? Because I kind of just want to see that come out.
Yeah, no, this is
I,
yeah.
I love how this flare looks. It's so photogenic too, especially when you start mixing wavelengths together.
Yeah.
I will definitely have a video of this, I think, once I get everything properly loaded. I've had this program up for almost 45 minutes now, and it's still not loaded everything I asked it to load. To be fair, I'm asking a lot on a bad laptop. So,
So yeah.
yeah, go ahead and models.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and as usual, just about everybody modeled this, and just about everybody actually talked about this so far on social media. So, if you haven't seen models yet, you probably have been sleeping all day, like I have.
Right.
I've been trying to concentrate at work and not pay attention to the modeling, but we have here M2M model and SWIPSI model, and M2M pretty much modeled two CMEs together. So they had a separate runs for X 1.7 and 1.2, and then they decided to just put them together and see how things evolve. And as usual, with NLIL, when you're trying to run too many things together, eventually it's going to look like a mess because
It is.
it can't really model things that well. It's just not designed for that. It gets too complex. But we should be seeing something arriving, something around probably mid-November 11th into later November 11th and 12th, depending on how those two CMEs will try to play together. This is a SWIPSI model, and the second one is faster, so it's bumping the speed from initial arrival of the slower CME. Same thing. Likely some level of storming, depending on how fast it is and depending on which IMF we're gonna get before the shock, because we can get decent substorm from the shock alone. If we have a little bit of the negative BZ that's kind of feeding and keeping the magnetosphere warm, so to speak, then it's gonna substorm. If it's a completely cold magnetosphere, even shock's not gonna do anything. It's just gonna compress. We might get some sort of red glowing aurora, and that's gonna be the end of it until the system loads up from negative BC if it's coming. If it's not, it's just going to run cold. And we're going to get something for higher latitudes, but not much for mid latitudes. We're going to be out of luck. And do I have Huxt? Yes, I do have Huxt. So Zahn has been throwing things at us and in all other directions, mostly sort of side swipes and very glancing blows. That's why the probabilities, the hit percent is very low. But those two, so CME number 4, which color?
Pink.
Pink. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go with pink. And color brown, which is CME number 2, thing 1 and thing 2. They are expected to impact with fairly high probability. So over 99% of runs end up with a hit. How it's going to hit is a different story. So this is what Huxt has. It sort of spreads out the probabilities from, again, mid-11th into 12th of November. And arrival speed is fairly decent. Are we going to see 2 peaks in the speed? I don't know. Possibly. It really depends how fast they're going. And we don't know what to expect for that type of CME interaction. We have seen something similar, again, not identical in impact, But something similar in speed situation, when it was a slower CME and a faster one was following that, it was actually one of the CMEs and the last CME on May 11th. There was a fast CME that was kind of closing the entire show, and it moved things along quite well. We're not going
Yeah,
to
we had a very
see,
favorable
yeah,
condition in that area.
yeah,
That was the
but
all negatives.
exactly. But chances of us seeing the same thing out of this CME pair are very, very low.
I'm not impressed at all with the first CME. The first CME I would call a pretty common one. I would barely go to the G1 regular watch as a NOAA forecaster at that point because that's just to be safe.
You're more.
The second one is really going to run the show.
Yep.
I love how you're more pessimistic than everybody. I think
I'm
it's
always
good.
pessimistic.
It's good to have that other end of the spectrum.
Again,
It generally it makes more
we're
sense to
not
be pessimistic.
forecasting. Yeah, we're not forecasting anything for Aurora. This is just for the storm level and G-storming, all the watches are for industry so they can prepare. So nobody's doing repair on the power grid when the storm is coming because that's not going to look pretty. They need all the lines functional and operational in case they have to reconfigure the grid. But that's about it. And for satellites and for GPS users to be aware that there might be some disruptions and they may have to move satellites and correct the orbit if things get heated up in the magnetosphere and ionosphere and lower levels of atmosphere. So everything puffed up and satellites are coming down. We don't want to see that. So the industry wants to know what's coming so they can prepare. But for them, if Aurora doesn't happen or the storm doesn't materialize, woohoo, they don't have to do anything. Fun. For us, it's going to suck. So, CME interactions. You probably have seen this too. So people have been claiming this is going to be a cannibal CME. No. Cannibal CME term was proposed by one of the heliophysicists who's probably cringing every time he sees it in social media.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately that term has been misused to describe CME interactions which are more complex than cannibalism. CMEs do interact with each other. They can push each other out of the way, so that's deflection. They can actually rotate each other, and original orientation of the flux rope is going to look very different. It's going to be tilted. Bending and folding is fairly common. Magnetic field lines are very flexible. It's like a slinky. I don't have a slinky, but it can move and bend and fold just from the physical sense of it because magnetic lines are stretchy. They don't mind being bent. They don't mind being stretched. They don't like being bent for a very long time, so they're going to try to sort of strengthen out and straighten out. But folding, again, it's fairly common. Magnetic interactions also happen. So solar wind has a lot of distance to move from sun to earth. And it's going to change, particularly when there are several structures that are moving in space. So we're going to likely see compression, particularly when there's a slower CME in the way getting chased by a faster CME. So we may see a flux rope that is compressed, so magnetic field being compressed results in higher IMF, which is what we want. But if it's all negative BZ, that's going to be awesome. If it's all positive,
it'll be fun.
Move to the pole.
It will be par for the course.
It'll be fun for anybody up in Fairbanks or higher latitudes, like
it's going to be fun for them. Yes, exactly. They're going to see the entire auroral oval, and we're not going to see much. And finally, the reconnection where it's opposite orientation of magnetic field, you're going to get cancellation. So that's true cannibalism, which is extremely rare. You don't have flux ropes that kind of run straight into each other and start canceling each other out.
Anti-parallel, pretty much.
Yeah. So you might see the claims that, if you see maps of where Aurora is going to be visible, just turn around and run the other direction.
Red donut sucks.
We can predict it. Yep, we can predict it. It may happen. It may be further equatorward than the maps are showing. It may be just stuck in the higher latitudes and not going to show anything for us. And if you see it's going to be cannibal CME, no. It's going to be complex interaction. That's more like it. but in terms of cannibalism, that's the term that really should not be used. So
Yeah. But it's good for social media. It gets people's attention, so it'll continue to be used forever, like the red donut.
That's the point.
yeah. And this is not the level of Carrington. That's another thing that has been thrown out
We're
there.
not gonna have a
And you
Carrington this cycle. We're just not.
no.
If we did, it was on the other side of the sun.
And yeah, and even then, I
We
wouldn't
did
say.
actually. There was a CME there moving with like 3,000 kilometers per second. So that's what we are talking about Carrington level. This is nothing.
Yeah, I
It's
think
gonna stress the grid obviously if the storming materializes, but they know how to handle it. If it's at G3, G4 level of storming, you're not gonna have your power killed. That's not gonna be a kill shot either. This is not going to have significant impact on infrastructure that we will notice. The operators will see it, but they know what to do. This is a level that will not bug us.
it's just normal. It's fine. I think I made some people mad earlier in one of those groups because I was like, look at you all getting all excited over a X flare, like
A casual event,
a
yeah.
low level X flare.
You know, I loved, at least my first early days, 2, 3 years in, just looking at X flares and hoping for big ones, simply just for the fact of thinking of the magnitude of energy that comes from
Yeah,
an X
I
flare
mean,
itself and
it
what it
does.
does. It was not in the context of
Yeah.
Aurora because I'm in Ohio and generally don't care about that, because why would I? I mean, solar flares are cool. They don't have to just lead to Aurora. Like,
Yeah.
let's give them some credit.
Yeah, no, they're pretty.
Yeah, they're
They're
pretty.
fun.
But it's
And
not.
they-
But it's
and-
just the sun being the sun. This isn't anything
Yep.
out of the ordinary. Like it just isn't. And I mean, we're still in a cycle that's weaker than, the
A majority,
23.
23 still.
So yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just sun's doing sun things. So don't get too worried about it. We'll just see if it gives us anything to look at in a day or two.
I feel like
Yeah.
most followers we have too already know most of that, so just having that reiteration is nice. But when you look at other people saying things, just know this is why we don't really
Yeah.
hype it or care too much. This
Yeah.
is still pretty run of the mill.
Yeah, we haven't had
Yep.
the the fringe people hop in here yet.
Yeah, I was
Well,
wondering if that
Yeah,
was anything was going to happen with that.
we probably need a scale for the hype level because it's been really
H5.
just H5.
But
Yeah, let's go
in
with that.
essence, with itself, because it's a hype scale, it automatically has to hype itself. So it's always at H5. There is never any other level, just H5.
Yeah, there's no other level.
Maximum hype because it's hype.
Maximum hype.
All hype all the time.
Yeah, all hype all the time, and it tires me
Power
out.
thirst.
It gets to the point where I just have to walk away because I'm like I can't deal with this. It's just too much.
No.
Well, jet lag doesn't help.
No,
I'm
it
sure.
doesn't.
And in terms of predictions, we're likely going to see shock of the initial arrival, so sharp changes in magnetic field strength, in speed, in density, followed by very
Anything.
like anything really,
Yeah.
because
We
it's
could
the
see
initial
consistency.
part
We
of
could
the
see no
CM
consistency.
Yeah, exactly. Initial part of the CME tends to be fairly turbulent, so we can see BZ going in all directions. So yes, we kind of hope for arrival for our nighttime, but at the same time, the timing really works out the best when we get not the sheath, but when we get the flux rope, when things start to be more predictable. Of course, it's going to be anything, but getting the initial sheath is not and not getting anything else would be pretty unusual for this scenario because the hits are fairly directed at us. Well, even though it's flank, it's not exactly a complete side blow where we get nothing but a little
Yeah,
bit of
it's
shock.
what I would call a. Actually, I really don't know what to call it because calling it a
We'll
flank
see.
is.
Yeah, we'll see
It is a little
something of the
undervalued.
CME core. Yeah, we'll see something of the CME core. So we really want the CME core to arrive and have negative BC when it starts, and it starts to be more, the night starts to be more predictable. Otherwise, BC could be all over the place. It could be small substorms. that are not necessarily all that spectacular for our latitude. So, yeah, sheath can have a lot of negative BC, but it can be unpredictable and oscillating. So don't get disappointed if it arrives during the day. We might get a favorable core or not.
Or not. um, should I bring up weather? Should I? Hold on.
Yes,
Sure.
Let me
because I need
get
to
it
know
ready
that
here.
it's not worth going out to do anything in Ohio.
Actually, you might be okay.
Ooh, I
Seriously?
like that. The CME shoulder check. This is what they do to each other. They can. They
Shoulder
can
check.
deflect
Yeah,
each
that
other.
does. I like that phrasing better. That's for sure.
Okay, what is
Mhm.
here Tuesday? Let's start Tuesday, like afternoon ish, 7 p.m. Well, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Okay, let me drag this screen back over here. Boop, boop. All right. Instead of sharing it, I just dragged it over. But I mean, I guess I could share it so that way so my lovely co-host can see what I'm doing here. So let me.
I'm watching the video at least on
Okay.
the stream itself.
All right. I'm just put it over here. Okay, so I'll describe it. So this is starting tomorrow night, and yeah, the upper Midwest, like, well, actually, a lot of Minnesota's clear except for the upper or the North Shore, then down into
That's
Wisconsin,
the best
UP, and
place.
Michigan. But where you're at in Columbus, you're like right on the edge of this cloud bank, which is going to move out. It's clear over here.
Cool.
Then,
So instead of clouds to battle through, I just have the light pollution without the
yeah,
clouds.
and then out west, there's usual kind of cloud cover out there too. But let's go into Wednesday. Wednesday looks more better in most of the Midwest. There's still some clouds over Michigan, but they're mostly in the eastern part. Yeah, so that's the U.S. weather anyway. I mean, I know that, we got our lovely contingency in the southern hemisphere, and I don't think I can bring that up on windy, or I might be able to, but I think the models are different. But anyway, I guess what I want to say is, check your local weather forecast too, because you might have to move around, since we are in the permacloud season part of the year. But it looks like there's actually a decent chance for some of the Midwest anyway. It's not.
Well, there is actually a decent chance right now. So if your sky is clear in the upper Midwest and actually northern tier of the United States, go chase, because we do have conditions for Aurora.
To add to what Les's comment as well, I agree. When we kind of noticed it here recently as well, it does look like, based on the fact that it is almost purely a radial field, but it's a stable one. I'm assuming that it's a side glance from one of the earlier, fainter CMEs from this region. But yes, it is. It is likely. Again, we'll call it a CME just because that's what it is. But it's literally as the radial as possible. Like BX is 6 nanotesla out of a 7 nanotesla BT right now.
Yeah,
so it's pretty much all pointing radially.
Yeah, the thing that kind of came through right past hour or so.
Yeah, since 1700. So early this afternoon, I would say. Really, it started.
All right. Yeah, because there's been a lot coming off of that region. It's just, obviously the big ones get talked about, but there's a lot of these little. It's been flaring, just has been. So these little ones kind of get forgotten about.
Yeah, this one. I think we've been expecting a side swipe with M7, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So that could be it. But again, plasma came to L1 without a label. I put several requests, and it still doesn't happen. So, sorry.
Yeah, because
we don't know.
We haven't even discussed the stuff that happened last week, because we were supposed to get these glancing blows that
didn't happen.
Materialized. To some degree, yes, but it was just pretty disappointing overall.
The hype train killed it.
Yeah, it was. H5. Obviously high latitude is a different story, so you can still see stuff, but it wasn't the what it could have been.
Yeah.
And then we had the high speed stream on top of that, so there was actually quite a bit last week. And then the week prior, the Halloween week, there were that was a coronal hole too, I think.
Hmm.
So that there was quite a bit, and the high latitudes got quite a show out of that. Actually, mid latitude did too. They had a really nice at least one really nice substorm
It was a streak too,
that
like a couple nights that
overpowered the
week.
moon. So that always says something. I think it tipped into G3 a couple times or something like that, if memory
Yeah, it
serves.
was pretty decent.
So yeah, but that's neither here nor there. Now we're on to the next thing, these next bigger things. So let's
Yeah, this
see.
one's more important anyway.
Oh yeah, another night of thousands of posts of light pollution claimed to be Aurora. Yeah, that's the oh god.
Steve, that wouldn't really make much sense unless it was satellite TV. That might have some explanation.
What's that?
We have constant blackouts. I'm not 100% sure how much that affects satellite. I assume some.
Yeah, it could like
But cable?
yeah, I don't know. It depends on where they're getting it from. And in flares, typically it's if it's in the dusk or dawn sector. So like the sun's low on the horizon. That's where the flares really impact things more. Because all your radars and stuff are on the horizon. But I've heard of it impacting some satellites, but I don't know. It's not as it's more the geomagnetic stuff on the night side that affects those um, than flares. But it's not. I mean, it's not impossible. We've had those crazy flares where they have the radio sweeps that go into the bands that the satellites operate at. So you know. But I didn't keep track as to what levels those what were they type 2 and type 4s were. I didn't keep track of what hertz level those were in, so maybe.
A lot of them weren't too fast. They were usually in a pretty slow range, at
Yeah.
least.
So anyway, yeah, the 30th. Yeah, I'm just yeah, I missed all of those because I was under a permanent cloud for the entire week of being at Space Weather Workshop or European Space Weather Week.
Yeah.
That was the saddest week. Like there was no hope.
Oh.
And then and just because I know Adrian will probably watch this tomorrow,
He will.
and him sending me pictures from Norway of this awesome aurora just exploding overhead, and then I'm in Sweden under the color
Cloudy
of this
sky.
shirt. I was like, gee, thanks, that's awesome. But it's
Rude.
okay. Yeah, it was still a great trip, and I don't I no regrets about it, even if the weather just was not the best. So, no worries. It's all good. Now we're back here chasing clouds, so it's fine.
At least it's
Everything,
familiar
yeah,
territory.
everything is fine.
All right. Well, we'll
Yeah,
probably have a forensic
Oh God,
stream
yes.
once
This
this
is going to be a
is
big
done and
forensic
over.
topic.
It's gonna be a blast.
yeah, it'll
So
be
I'm
fun to
looking
go over
I'm
this
looking
one.
forward to that. We'll chase the data.
Yeah, we'll chase the data. For now, that's kind of what we have come across. Yeah, ugh, what we're I can't even put words
We're
together.
good.
Yeah,
That's all we got pretty
this
much
is
for
what we got
today.
for the forecasting. It was basically you
And it's
know,
mostly a pre-analysis, really.
Yeah.
yeah, we have stuff coming. Its strength is going to
It
be
may be
determined
good.
by what
We'll
hits
see.
L1 when we can get a figure on the magnetic field of it, which we just can't forecast it. You can't forecast that. There was lots of cool stuff being talked about at European Space Weather Week about trying to forecast magnetic fields of these things, but it goes back to the problem that we talked about is these structures get deformed on the way here,
And we have no
and
data in between,
we
so
have
we have
no
no way to
data in
know how
between.
that works.
So even if you try to model it, is it going to arrive that way when it gets here?
Nope.
I'm with
Particularly
Steve.
when it's that complex
Yeah,
of an eruption. So nope.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
no.
Steve said
When
go get some sleep.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a good idea.
yeah. Like I can't talk. It's fine. But it's
Oh,
it's good to get one of these out because we've been gone for a couple weeks, so it feels nice to be back.
yep.
So thanks everybody for being here, and I'm sure next week we'll have a fun forensics to put together on this.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'll be data watching for sure.
it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So everybody go have fun chasing, and definitely we'll be keeping an eye on this one, and to keep an eye on your weather forecast, because that'll make or break it. So yeah, I know Ray got some stuff at that one substorm on the 30th that was pretty good.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. Do you got anything else to add before we end this and go to sleep?
I
Nope.
think I was chasing that substorm on the way to on a bus to Kyoto.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that substorm.
Yeah, you were actually went to the source of the AE index.
I did.
Of course.
Like
I feel any of us would do the same,
like
to
a
be fair,
total
but
space
that's
weather
funny.
nerd. You went to the source of the AE index.
Yep.
It's a highlight of my Kyoto trip. It was fun.
I mean, yeah.
I couldn't get into the building. It's locked, so I had to take photos next to it.
It's still fun. It's still great. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I was up in Tromsø, where the TGO stack plot is. Where that
Yeah,
data
no,
is
that's fun.
aggregated. So, yeah.
You were at the space weather week. It's like it doesn't get any more space weather than that.
I know.
No.
That's
no, it
awesome.
doesn't.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to meet all these people that live and breathe this stuff because they live right under it. So yeah,
And it's really cool that you got to present the project.
Yeah,
So, no,
this
this
project.
is awesome. Yes, exactly. This was awesome.
So it was a good time. It was a good time. Learned a lot.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like so. Anyway, I don't see any more questions. Just lots of comments. Basically, yeah, all the same stuff. It's like we got to chase the weather, and I don't know if this. We'll see if I go out for the. I got to fly out again on Wednesday, so I'll be chasing it semi-locally if I do go out. So we'll see, but yeah.
Remember, her semi means like 2 to 6 hours.
2. I capped it at 2.5 hours because I
Okay.
can still get back and then get to the airport.
But the point is that's semi-local. That's really funny
Yeah,
to me.
it's semi-local. And then
All right.
Okay. Anyway, we'll let you guys have your night back. Thanks for joining us as always. We
Yep.
appreciate you being here, and hopefully we'll get something out of this. And definitely let us know if you guys see anything. We always like to include that in our forensics. So, yay! Okay.
See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.